And we're live.
Hello, and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism through passionate people doing incredibly incredible things. Yes, did I use incredibly? Yes, I did. Will English teachers everywhere spite me forever? I'm not sure. Hi, I'm Trey.
We're going to get some emails.
We are going to get so many emails. And I am joined by my host or the host of the podcast, Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hello, I'm Emily. Can you say incredible one more time?
Incredible. En français, incroyable. Anyway, so is everything okay?
Yeah, I was checking we're good. I was just checking a volume. I'm sorry about the look on my face.
It's okay.
We're good.
I am so excited for our guest today because they are also equally incredible people. Emily, would you do us the honor of introducing our guests today?
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled to welcome Cliff and Susan Prowse Like House.
Yeah, Prowse Like House.
A dynamic music duo from Little Rock, Arkansas. They're known for their lively performances and vast repertoire. They've captivated audiences worldwide. So please join me in welcoming Cliff and Susan.
Hello.
Hello.
For having us.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
And I should make a correction here. I'm really sorry. It's Cliff and Susan and this little guy on your lap.
So we have 3 little dogs, and this one in my lap, his name is Gibson. We call him Gibby for short. He's a rescue Maltese, and he's a crusty little white dog, and he's a lap dog, and he loves me so much. He loves Cliff too, but he loves to be in my lap. And then we have a poodle named Charlie Daniels.
Toy poodle.
A toy poodle. And we have a Yorkie named Booker.
Oh,
So we
this
have
is so perfect.
3 little guys. We don't have children. We have 3 little fur babies.
This is so perfect. What a beautiful family.
Thanks.
Sorry, Trey, you were going to say something.
No. I was struck when I was starting to listen to your music and listening to your story and reading about your story. I want the world to know, how did you two come to be in music? Because I think it is incredibly fascinating.
Well, is that a question about how we met or how we each individually or both and all of the things?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll start and just kind of tell you how I found music in my life. I grew up in a very small town in Magnet Cove, Arkansas. And it's my mom is still to this day the church piano player. And so growing up in church and watching my mom play and sing, I asked her for piano lessons when I was about 6 years old. And I think she started teaching me a little bit, but realized she needed to find me a teacher. And I took 10 years of classical piano lessons from a lady by the name of Dorothy Johnson, who's since passed. And I always say it was the greatest gift my parents gave me was the gift of music. And of course, also, having her give me her talents and gifts through the teaching. I went to school for math and science and ended up in corporate world, and then discovered piano bars when I was in my early 20s, and did not ever think that piano or music could be a career path until I found that platform and that concept of sing along and knowing lots of songs and taking requests. And so there's a lot that happened between 2003 when I started there, but fast forward, I left the state, went international, came back and met Cliff on stage in 2016 at the same club that I started at in Little Rock. We were both booked at the same venue. So that's how I got started, and that gets you caught up to where we met, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So I've been in music my whole life since I was about 4 or 5 years old. I started playing drums and picked up a lot of instruments along the way. I play several different instruments, but started fiddle when I was about 10, and I took a few years of lessons on that, and that's become one of the primary instruments that you'll hear me on in our show. And so guitar and fiddle were my main hats, and I would play. I was working at a pharmacy at the time, actually, in around 2015 to 16, and that's when I met her. I was playing at Willie D's on the weekends as like a rotational player on guitar or fiddle or whatever they needed me on. And so we happened to meet there, and then we just started playing ever since.
And it was music at first sight. I immediately added him to my show that I had at a casino in Hot Springs, about an hour away here in Arkansas. And a year later we had eloped in Vegas. So love happened pretty quickly, and we've been together, almost married on July 7th.
8th. She'll get it wrong.
We're married 7 years on July 8th. I'm sorry, I got the 7 and 8 backwards. We've known each other for 8 years. We've been married for 7 almost. So
Well, happy early anniversary.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so exciting.
It's a lot of 7s and 8s. I understand.
I know. I get it. 7, 8.
That is so wonderful. Do you ever look back at this story that you just told and go, this is going to look great in a movie? This is going to be such a great movie.
I don't, but now that you say that, I mean, I will say, I've chosen music, and my path has been very untraditional. I would say just, choosing music, and never in a million years did I think at that point in my life when I just decided I get enough love from the people that I'm surrounded by at shows. And, it was very challenging to find someone who fit in my life to join me as a partner. And when I came back home from Vegas, and I'd been in LA and Vegas and was traveling international, but I was like, I just got to get home and get grounded again. So I moved back home with my mom and dad, honestly, and was playing and just picking up shows. And then I met an Arkansas boy with same values of love for family, love for Arkansas. And here we are. And, and he was unbelievably talented and such a great fit. And at the time, obviously, his talent stuck out to me, but then knowing his character and our personalities, yin and yang, and how we fit together, it's just a blessing that I never thought was going to happen. So maybe that is a good story for a movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
What a great team you guys make.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you ever, I always ask this of those that are like trained classically or have done music throughout their life. You have been exposed to so many varieties of music, so many different genres. How do you consolidate that, or how do you incorporate that into your music?
Well, I think when we play so much music that people love, it definitely becomes ingrained in us of what people like and respond to really well.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely, whether we know it or not, kind of drives our musical inspiration to write in that same vein of, either maybe it be a call and response or some, like a sha-la-la brown-eyed girl thing. So who knows what it might inspire us to write. But I do definitely think that, a lot of the structural and chords that we use and kind of the melodies and tones that we use for our song will definitely be familiar, because it's probably taken from some sort of inspiration of something that we've played and know that people respond to.
I say it's the best masterclass in hit songwriting, having to play the hits from all decades. And after 20 years of doing that and taking requests and playing songs that people know and love, I mean, you're going to inevitably understand, like, somewhat, it's going to, like he said, it's going to be influencing your lyrical or melodic hooks that you're writing yourself. Sometimes there's a challenge to get away from, because you're like, oh gosh, is that something I've heard before? Did I just write something that's been written? So luckily we've never had that get too close.
But there's nothing new under the sun. And so it's all the same story written. I can't remember who said it. It might've been, no, I think it might've been James Taylor that said, I write the same song 100 times, just with different chords. And so that's kind of what your challenge is as an artist to do. But, obviously, if you listen to our album, if you listen to our music, we are more country and Americana, but we still definitely use there is a little bit of variety on.
There's some rock and roll in there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Jerry Lee for me. So.
There's even a little bit taken from some R&B. If you listen to Better Than the Country Song, it's the third song on the album, and it starts with a really great drum beat that you've probably heard in some R&B song. Who knows? So there's a lot of inspiration there.
Well, speaking for me personally, I heard the line that this was like the female Jerry Lee Lewis before I even heard your music. And I was like, okay, I'm skeptical.
Oh, really?
Then,
okay.
Yeah, because I was like, come on. Jerry Lee Lewis was like, I mean, he's a class. He's like a legend, right? So you're like, how this, of course not. That can't be possible. But then I went and I listened to your music, and specifically the one song that I heard first was the it's Fiddle and Keys, right?
Yeah, the
And
title track.
that one, especially because you get the video is the one that you have to see, because I mean you can hear it and you can tell there's like, whether you hear it or whether you see the video, you can tell there's this, you guys have such a joy in playing and playing like that, that I immediately was like, oh my gosh, yes. It's true. It's absolutely true that you guys are this. It's not even like an exaggeration, or we're not just trying to be cute. It's very much real. And I was like, oh my gosh, she is the female version of Jerry Lee Lewis. This is exactly as advertised. And I loved watching, you guys are playing with smiles on your faces, and you're like, the joy that's coming out of you, especially in that video, is awesome to see. And I loved every second of it.
Thank you. Are you talking about the one, because we released a couple of other Fiddle and Keys performances, but is this the one that was on national television? Is that the one we're talking about? I'm probably, because did I play with my foot is the question. Did you see me play with my foot?
I did not see you play with your foot.
So I've got 2 other videos out that were more recent. That was I was pretty much, so a little behind the scenes on this. When we played that song, I had not played it enough to be comfortable with how I was going to perform it, like live in front of a crowd. And so, and we were on national television. I was like, it was a very new, a lot of, I won't say I was, no stage fright really. I was in my element, but I was really focused on doing certain things, getting my parts right. And now when I play that song, I maybe to a fault probably don't play my parts exactly right, but I'm like showing out and throwing my foot up there and playing with my foot. When I say Jerry Lee Lewis, I'll throw my foot up there and play with my boot. So you'll have to check out those other 2 videos.
I will. Yes.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, for our audio listeners, y'all can find the national TV performance of Fiddle and Keys for the ones that are just listening to it audibly. So that's one that it's actually, I think, highlighted on our Instagram.
It's highlighted on all of our social media, or if you go to our Cliff and Susan YouTube, it's one of the first. It's just type in Fiddle and Keys Cliff and Susan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just did a search and found.
Oh yeah, that's the one that we leave with.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's front and center on our website too. Now that I think of it. So.
Okay. Yeah, so great. Clearly, this is like. Well, like a match made in heaven, but also like a match, musically and in other ways. That was delightful. It is delightful to listen to your work, and you have obviously such a huge repertoire, but now that you have like your own music out, how does that feel to come out with your own?
Well, it's definitely, I think the most, I guess the good feelings that we get is that people actually really respond to it and really like it and start singing it. And requesting it. And I mean, we love writing our own music, obviously, as artists. It's like, liken it to, you can trace different art and it looks cool and it looks good. And some people will be like, hey, that's really good. That's really cool that you did that. But when you paint something from your own mind and heart and people really like it, it's totally different experience. It's a very vulnerable thing. So when we write our own music and finally perform it in front of people, it's a different feeling. It's exhilarating, but it's really I can't think of the word right now, but it's very not inspiring. Fulfilling. It's very fulfilling when they actually really respond to it and start singing the words before you're even through with the song. So that's really the best part of it to me.
And also one of the songs that we also did on national television it's called A Song for Granddad. And we've had more engagement and more actual success with that viewer count on Facebook. And so many people, when they hear this song that Cliff wrote about his late grandfather, we have people talking about how it made them cry and it made them remember, and they connect on this deep level with the song that Cliff wrote. It's just, that's magical to me. And I'd like to also bring up that, there's art in songwriting, but there's also art in the performance art, which is where I love, like that throwing my foot up there or getting a crowd to respond and taking them on a journey, building a set list or pulling out songs from my hip pocket because I know it's going to work at this right time with this certain crowd because I can read them. I know them. they like this certain thing, or maybe we need to change it up and try a new thing and wow them with the new element, throw him on harmonica because he hadn't played it yet, or pull out the fiddle, or just a new different thing, something that makes them want to raise their hands up in the air or sing or dance. That artistry I'm addicted to, and I think I will always want to be on a stage doing that until the day I die. So that, I mean, to have now your songwriting coming into that lane as well artistically is really cool and fun. So when you're talking about people requesting your songs and singing them back and actually responding to your music, because that's unfamiliar. If they've never heard the song, that's one thing. But now they're starting to like become familiar with our music, and it's exciting.
Yeah, that would be exciting.
When, like, you talked about the live performance of things and how you can kind of change things up, whether it be throwing it onto a different instrument or throwing your foot up there and playing with that. One thing I was curious about is, do you ever find a time to like change it up for the audience and kind of do something where you do an extended piano solo, or you do an extended fiddle run, or you wind up pulling out another, like a mandolin, for example, and start doing something that to kind of do something different with songs? Or do you find more so kind of sticking to what you've already written?
We both got an answer for that. You go first.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, as the most recent thing is we actually did an online show, and the song I just mentioned earlier, "Better Than the Country Song," starts off with the drum beat, and it typically is just the drum beat, and then we all kick in as a band or as our duo
with the drum machine.
With the drum machine, but we usually all kick in, for the main riff, like musical riff. But we recently started doing where I picked up the harmonica during an online show and was just like kind of vamping with the harmonica over the drum beat. And we really liked that, and people really liked that. So we started doing that all of a sudden and incorporating that on every time we play it. And we even incorporated it today when we built a new track that we're going to start playing to.
And so there was an old Clint Black song. I forget the name of that song, but
we forget it every time.
There is a really cool harmonica solo that just is hanging out on the front end of this song before the full band kicks in. So anyway, that was kind of
a drum beat, or is it just
no? Yeah,
harmonica?
I'm pretty sure there's a drum beat.
Okay.
But what I wanted to say was, many times during our cover shows, we absolutely will sometimes extend, if people are dancing and we want to keep them dancing. Well, we'll extend the song. We'll add an extra solo. We might change it. We're always doing something different. We might do a mashup where I'm throwing two songs together, or we're just blending them like a DJ into the next song and taking them on a journey. So it's really a craft and an art of reading a crowd and then letting your music adapt to those moments, and creating that fluidly is, I think, a skill set that seasoned performers inevitably come up with, and I enjoy that. That's part of my excitement during the night.
Well, and also that makes it so no two performances are the same, and it makes sense that you have people that follow you from show to see these.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I would say, we're going to play a lot of the same, a joke at the end. Come back tomorrow night, we'll play all the same songs in a different order. Well, I mean, there's some truth to that, but we have a lot of songs that we know now, and now that I've got Cliff as a partner, he is like a musical brain encyclopedia. If he's heard it before, sometimes all he needs is just to pull up the lyrics, and then he's got the song, and we're doing like 2 or 3 songs I didn't even know we could do that night, and we got to cover it. Case in point, Shenandoah, 2 Dozen Roses. They sent us $5 with the Cash App to the stage. We have a little process, a system that we implemented that people can go to iwantasong.com while they're in our show, and they can send their requests to my device, and we'll take requests. It can be through a text message or through Cash App and Venmo. So we've monetized it, but it doesn't have to be. It's free too. Yeah. And they send all these things coming at us, and he surprised me. And then we went over this group of table because, they were like, wow, okay, you knew that song. And they were skeptical at first, they said. And then when we pulled it off, we were like,
those shows that she's talking about are a lot of times all requests. So sometimes we have no idea what we're going to play. So there is definitely not a show that's the same
ever.
And so it's really fun. We never know what they're going to request. They might request a song that we've never played, but we both know that we're like, why haven't we played that one?
Yeah.
So that's really
somebody's
cool.
asking, it looks like Sandra.
Sawyer.
Sandra, hello. Where do y'all tour, and do you mainly stay in Arkansas? That's a great question. I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute, but I'll answer that quickly if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
about 80% of our time in the state of Arkansas right now. We're here right now live from our music studio in our home in Little Rock, Arkansas. We do a lot. We have about a 5.5-month contract at Oaklawn Casino in Hot Springs during the thoroughbred racing season, which is a big fun time. And one of the big really one of the most notable things about Hot Springs in Arkansas. And then we go to Santa Barbara all of July every year. We play on State Street at the Red Piano for 6 nights a week for a month. And then that same model and venue name, which was the same owners that started it, they are, we go to in November to the island of St. Martin, and we spend a month in the Caribbean. So it's a tough life for sure on that month, but we do enjoy being balanced in our travels. But I feel I need some travel, but after 20 years of traveling internationally, I really am a homebody. So we do expect though in our next 18 months to really branch out and get some more national locations. We'd love to be on tour with someone or pick up some dates where we can get out, and especially in our tri-state area.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll be hitting up a lot more of the states pretty soon. And
yeah,
but you can check it out on our cliffandsusan.live website. We always have our schedule there, and even on our Facebook, you can check it out.
Yeah.
I saw you were going to be in Santa Barbara, and I got really excited because I have family there, and I was like, oh, I was born there, and I was like, oh, I should go back and visit them and then come to the show.
Well, we're there for a whole month. Maybe you could. It's a beautiful place.
Did you go to USBC?
No, I moved out of Santa Barbara when I was 5. I had no control over that decision.
UCSB.
Yeah. UCSB. I said that wrong.
I knew what you meant, though. Yeah. No, I didn't.
I'm from Santa Barbara anyway.
Sadly. That would have been cool, but no. No, I get to go back once in a while, though, and see family, and I get to see how beautiful it still is, and that weather. As long as there aren't fires, it's beautiful.
Right. Yeah, we did go whenever it just had the fires, and then there were the mudslides because the rain came after the fires, and then it was just, And fun story, Brad Paisley, we got to meet one of Cliff's guitar heroes in Santa Barbara. He was doing a lot of pop-ups and showing up and like doing to support the local businesses and drive revenue to like coffee shops and bars and restaurants. And that
was right after the mudslide.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was. That's why he was helping them kind of rebuild. And we got to meet Brad Paisley, took a picture, and he signed Cliff's guitar. So that was cool.
Oh, cool!
Wow.
That's exciting.
Wow.
How fun!
Oh my gosh. Oh, I had a question that left me. Oh, right. I do want to go back. I promise we'll come back to musical heroes for a second, but I do want to ask before we get too far away. When you're performing live, you talked about like kind of changing up the set or kind of extending things. How do you communicate that on stage with each other? Do you have like a signal or something?
Okay, this means keep going, and I'm taking my little pointer finger for those on the audio only, and I'm just doing a little round like we're going to keep going. It's like a keep going, or my hand like a fist in the air means we're about to stop. Sometimes if I'm like at the end when we're going to tag the ending, I'll hold up how many times I'm going to tag, so how many fingers, and that's just like musically we'll get at this point we'll just give each other an eyeball.
Yeah, a lot of times if there's some song or if we've mashed 2 songs up together before and we know it works, then we kind of can just look at each other and know
we're going to do it again.
And we've done shows together for so long, we're pretty much, we even know what song we're about to play. The other one's about to play, so after I end, how we do it is we kind of basically just go back and forth,
mm-hmm.
Just like dueling pianos, if you've been to a dueling piano show, which is where we met.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of use that same concept. And I think it really keeps the versatile, of not hearing too much of one voice. It kind of changes up the dynamic a little bit. But I'll end a song, or she'll end a song, and she'll be like, play this one. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm about to do right now.
So I'm barking orders off the microphone a lot of times too. And, or having a conversation just to kind of be like, hey, if there's something I need to tell him, I can, because I'm pretty close to him in the show, and I can, give him a heads up on something. There's something, but yeah, when he was talking about back and forth, it's almost like running a race. We're running this marathon and we're just passing the baton back and forth. And you never know what your partner's going to do, and that can be a good and a bad thing. Like sometimes you'll be like, I'll be like, why did you make that call? I just got him. Why are you gonna do that? Or he just nails it and I make a bad call. But that's part of like, it's almost like playing a game because you got this crowd. You never know like who you can make a character out of in the crowd and get them to do something cool. And all of these tools we have in our toolbox to make a crowd have fun. And we're just kind of pulling from that. And the energy's never the same. It's always a different crowd, different night. You never know if somebody's going to be crazy or, it's just lots of fun.
So, cue to your audiences. If you want the song to keep going, just make a spiral motion with your index finger.
Yes. Or here's this. Do you know what this might mean? Do you know what this means? So I'm like, it's hard, and I don't know how to explain this to anybody who's not. So this means like a fiddle player.
That's what I was guessing, but isn't he already
So
playing?
if I do this, I'm like, we need to do fiddle next because we haven't played fiddle yet, and that would be a sprinkling, like a featured instrument in our show. And the reason I need to tell him fiddle is he needs to know if there's this song, grab your fiddle, because it takes him a minute to put his guitar down and get the fiddle. And we're just like, we don't want to sit there in dead air as like the antithesis of the show.
Yeah, I get it.
So is that antithesis, I think is the actual, but I don't even know if that's the correct use of that word. But anyway, point is, we don't want to lose momentum, and so I'll do that hand motion. I'm thinking of any other hand motions that we always get the question about if we fight, like how do you work with your partner?
Yeah.
And Cliff always makes the joke that he'll start the fights before we go on stage because we are all about being professional. So no matter what we bring to the stage, and we don't fight a lot, to be honest, but if we have like a little moment, we're not in the best of moods, the stage like cures it all. Like immediately you follow suit. Even you might be faking it to make it at the first, but then you immediately just start having fun. So
I love that. I also really like your hand signal thing. And I was thinking about Trey. I was thinking maybe we should adopt such a thing. I'll be like, grab your fiddle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like baseball, and you're like,
they do the side nose
right.
or the earlobe pull. Yeah, I don't know for that to that level, but
yeah, we might should be.
Yeah,
right. I'll be like, if you see me, right? This one. If you see me do this, I don't know. It means I can't hear you.
right.
Well, I actually like that. Like
Maybe
this, I can't hear you.
Right. We should come up with some, and then the audience can guess.
Or I don't know. Touch your nose. I don't know what I'm about to say, or I don't know.
Right.
Please
Take
over.
Take the next question.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You can touch your mouth if the other one starts talking too much.
Shut up.
I love it. Hey, I think we just invented podcast hand gestures. Somebody write it down, make a checklist, and send it out to everybody.
I love it.
Oh, that's fun. It'll be almost like a guessing game because we're streaming. Like people can watch this and be like, "Oh, he just told her to shut up." Oh,
The whole new level of why they should watch you instead of just listen.
I love this. This is so perfect. So watch for this from now on, folks. You have to watch it though.
Maybe you could like do a like purposeful thing throughout your podcast, like a scavenger hunt, and make them watch. And if they catch them all, then you get them like give away a T-shirt or something. I don't know.
Like
Gamify it.
Easter eggs and stuff.
And so whenever we record the like the intro that we do for our shows, we should say, and in this episode we have 5 hand gestures. Please see if you can figure out which ones they are.
Which ones are the ones that actually have a meaning behind it? Because I'm over here gesturing all the time anyway.
That's funny.
I love that.
This is great. Going back to when you were talking about being able to get your guitar signed, are there any musical artists that you would love to meet? Whether it be for coffee or jam session, like who would you want to meet right now?
You want to answer first?
I'll go second because I'm gonna switch up my usual answer because
Okay.
he asked it a little bit differently.
Well, I have a lot of different people, so it's hard to.
The question is, who would we want
say.
to hang out with? Is that the question?
Well,
Coffee or jam session?
either
Jam.
jam or coffee.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean that's a very tough question. I have so many influences and artists that I listen to.
But just to sit and chat at a coffee shop. Let's go there because that's a different question than we normally get.
It definitely is.
To pick their brain and just hang out with.
Well, okay, so I'm just gonna go for a guitarist perspective, because I could choose a lot of different artists. Like I mean, Dave Grohl would be amazing to hang out with. But there's a guitarist from Wisconsin that I love, and his name is Greg Koch, and he is like freaking 6'8", and he's just the funniest dude ever. He's got a very interesting and outgoing personality, and he's extremely funny. And
Is he
so
the
it'd
one
be
that you
fun.
watch his YouTube channel?
Yeah, well, he's got no. He does these demo. He does guitar demos for Wildwood Guitars, and even those guitar demo videos are like you'll make you spit your coffee out. But he's just a very odd bird, but he's an incredible guitarist too. So he would be fun to
hang out and
just hang out with or jam with. But yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Willie Nelson
Okay.
on the hangout. And I hope he's doing well because I know he's had some health issues, like literally right now, and he went off tour. But Willie has just been, I don't know, I've always wanted to play a song with Willie Nelson. And then I would go Dolly Parton because, I mean, some of these treasures, and, you know, that would be awesome. And I really love Lainey Wilson. She's really rocking her career right now. So I'd probably want to hang out with her. She seems very cool and down to earth, and just really admire her work ethic and her values and her artistry. So those would be mine.
Those are great answers. So Greg, Lainey, Dolly, and Willie, if you're listening.
Or if someone's listening that knows one of them,
Yeah.
you know,
Get in touch with us or get in touch with Cliff and Susan, and we will make this happen.
Sandra, I'm sure you know at least one of those people.
Sandra is so good at this. Yeah, she's. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. Or if we can get one of them on the show, we'll just invite you back and be like,
well,
perfect.
That would be
come
epic.
hang out.
Yes.
Okay, I like this idea.
New
Oh,
goals.
Trey, your video froze for a second.
Oh,
You're good now.
You're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sandra
you're
says
good.
she'll do her best.
I didn't mean to do this because I can't hear you. My ear actually itches.
Now you got a problem.
We're gonna be very careful.
Yeah.
I'll just...
You can derail the whole podcast because of an itch. That's great.
I'll just go silently cry in a corner. It's fine.
Oh, God.
I'm so sorry.
We might need to redo the whole hand gesture thing.
The fun, I will mention that Dolly is developing a musical based on her life, and is, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think she's trying to take it to Broadway. So I am honestly very much looking forward to seeing that, because I would love to see a story about her life in musical format.
I just got chills. That means it's probably going to happen, and it's really cool or whatever. Do you get chills when like things are like the universe is telling you yes? Yeah,
Yes.
That's and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably going to happen. And maybe we'll get to see it, but that would be incredible. And I'm sure she's going to do it, right? She's going to be casted in
Like
her.
in it?
I would hope.
I don't think so. I think she's taking the like the executive producer role. She might do like a walk-on sort of thing, but not. I don't think she's going to be doing like 8 shows a week.
Yeah.
Who could
Well,
play
there's a
Dolly?
meme that runs around about her where she went to a drag show, Dolly lookalike, and she went and entered and lost. And they've got this picture of her and the drag queen that won, and it's so cute. It's adorable. And yeah, so she was like, I went and I didn't even win my own contest.
Well, that same thing happened. The same thing happened to Adele.
I saw that one.
Yes.
It wasn't just a lookalike; it was like a singing thing. Like she did the whole thing, and she lost.
She didn't even sound like herself.
I guess.
I saw that one too. That one's I love that sort of thing. I think if I was that famous, I would show up to things like that.
Yeah.
It'd be like the lookalike thing or the whole
just show up in random places where nobody would expect you. Yeah.
Yeah, like Bill Murray does that sometimes. I would like show up to somebody's. I probably wouldn't crash a wedding because I don't feel like that's respectful. But, you know,
But a funeral maybe.
Oh no! Come on now, don't go dark on us. That's terrible. leave it to Cliff. He's got very dark and dry humor.
No, I love that. That's so great. Trey, I promise I will show up to your funeral.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, but who said I'm going first?
Oh, that was ominous.
Well, I would happily show up to yours, and
Thank
I would
you.
give the eulogy.
Oh.
So
I'm going to ask y'all. Can I interview y'all? I have
Oh,
a question.
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
If you could have any celebrity crash your funeral, who would it be and why?
Crash my funeral?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
I've never even thought about
Question.
that.
I mean,
That's
that's
really
probably
good.
ever has anybody
Okay,
asked that.
so I want you to think of the answer to the same question for yourself, but
Okay.
who would I want to crash my funeral?
Meaning, like, all your family and friends, you're not going to know. You're not going to, obviously.
Yeah, I'm dead. Right. It's just
really
like
more about your family and friends being like, holy crap.
somebody to show up and just,
Yeah.
honestly, I feel part of me kind of wants Joan Rivers to show up and like tell my family like how it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be somebody like that. Somebody who's like sassy enough to be able to just tell strangers like you
Yeah.
need to stop.
Yeah.
But also like somebody that they would like respect. I think Dolly would actually be a good choice.
I know Dolly's she's just a good, like, that's a safe bet with Dolly
It
on everything.
is. Yeah. Or
What do you
like,
think, Ray?
This is going to be odd. I have two different ones. First one is going to be Chapel Roan,
Okay.
mostly because she is a very authentic performer. She's incredibly popular right now, but I think she as a person is just incredibly good. So I would love for her to show up, or Monet Exchange. Drag queen, but funny enough, very authentic, can sing like nobody's business, but is also going to be sassy enough to give everybody the what's what at my funeral.
Cool. Do you have one?
I'm thinking of several, and I'm debating which one is. I don't know.
I might have to change my answer.
This is hard. This is really actually hard because I asked the question. I didn't even think too hard for myself, but
I think it would be amazing if Mike Myers would show up, but dressed as Dr. Evil.
yeah.
Oh, I love this answer. This is good.
This is great.
But okay, I do want to. I want to say that it's super controversial. But can you just imagine a eulogy given by Trump? Like, he was the greatest guy, the best, actually. Just like that would be hysterical.
Or even Biden showing up. Like, to know, I mean, either way, you're gonna like piss somebody off and make somebody happy.
Right.
But that would be
That would be
really,
a bad joke.
It would
They
really
would
make
know
a
that
statement.
you made it happen. They would know that you
Oh no,
did that.
I doubt it. it. No, it's just this is just completely random.
Yeah.
Like some random celebrity shows up.
I guess
don't
it
know.
makes your whole funeral unforgettable. And I guess that's kind of, but I kind of like the idea of the shock factor.
I'm gonna go with Dolly because why not? I mean,
I still say Dr.
Dr. Evil and Dolly.
Dr.
Those are
Evil's
all
a
right.
good one too. Those are both.
Sorry
so
if I
good.
went the wrong direction with
Maybe
the
if you had
podcast.
many.
No.
I was thinking like Queen Elizabeth, but she's gone. Both of them, first and second.
I wasn't even thinking of like not non-living.
Well, no, like, or just
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, like if you could
The
bring
Pope?
someone back, you know.
the Pope.
the Pope shows up at my funeral. That's what I want. I'm not Catholic, but if I don't even care. I want the Pope to show up at my funeral.
Wow.
Everyone would be like, "Whoa,
That's funny.
what do we do now?"
I now have like this incredibly vivid picture of all of these specters showing up at a funeral and just haunting everybody that shows up. I don't know why. This is incredibly macabre, and I'm sorry.
Love that we went here. This is great.
If Whoopi Goldberg showed up, it'd be like the movie Ghost, right?
Oh, yeah,
Oh yeah.
that would be great.
Yeah, have her like start talking like she's talking to you.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Invite like Demi Moore and Bruce Willis to the
Yeah.
funeral, just in case.
You mean Patrick Swayze?
Oh, Patrick Swayze. Oh, they were married. Oh, I screwed that up.
Well, but also Bruce Willis had the Sixth Sense, different
You're
ghost.
right. Totally different thing.
Yeah.
So where are we going with this?
I don't know.
I don't know,
but it was
this
fun.
this was fun.
I'm here for it.
We derailed.
So I was going to ask, though, what are some pivotal moments, like in your musical backgrounds, whether together or separately, that kind of shaped the sound you have now, or at least your style that you have now?
For me, it would be just when I heard Jerry Lee Lewis style playing. It's actually a song when I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and I heard a girl at one of our recitals in my classical training years. She played a song called Bumble Boogie, which is a left hand boogie woogie bass, and it's very similar to like a lot of bass hand patterns in boogie woogie piano, rockabilly style piano playing. Jerry Lee Lewis. Some guitar players play, I would say Chuck Berry, if you wanted to go in the guitar lane. But when I heard that type of piano playing, I just knew I wanted to play like that. So I love boogie woogie style, and that'll always be in my hands. And then blues, when I learned a blues scale and learned how to play all the blue notes, and blues and boogie woogie for me.
Yeah. I think, we both definitely kind of grew up with that classic rock, CCR, the Southern classic rock. And that was probably a great influence on a lot of our music. But I'm really big into like the 80s, 90s country era. And I followed a lot of guitarists from that era. But also, I mean, my dad was a guitarist, and, I grew up listening to the 80s rock and the Bon Jovi and the Van Halen and Dokken and all of the big, even the big hair bands. And so all of that definitely influences my playing and music.
Well, and it's served us well whenever we were raised on, I mean, we're all raised on the music that our parents and grandparents listened to, most of us are. And so to have all of that handed down to us and being familiar, to then now have a career where we have to play songs people request, no matter what the age or demographic or location in the world, it served us well to have that as influences.
I have to say, what's this? Not, I'm gonna avoid using that word. I'm gonna say, what is the most interesting request you've had for a song?
I would just say anything that's cross genre, that's like, this is more just kind of rhetorical in nature, but like anytime we're in a crowd and we think we got them figured out, and somebody comes up and requests Metallica, or like some B-side Prince that we know, or something that's like
we're like a musical, like
we're
Broadway
not,
shows.
We're not really up on, like, I have so many colleagues that know like all of these musicals and play in Hollywood at this show bar, and I'm like, I would so be a fish out of water in that venue. I need some homework on that for sure. But so those would be probably the most odd requests, but more rhetorical in nature. Like, I mean, anything that's like explicit in nature,
super explicit.
I'm like WAP and stuff like that. I'm like, and I have a lot of colleagues that know every word to it. And in an adult show, they'll go there. I typically, when I do rap and hip hop, I'll do it tongue in cheek. And about the worst I get is like, get low to the window, but I don't even say all the words. I'll let the crowd do it, you know?
Right.
That's really not, honestly, they request that quite a lot when they know that we kind of bust out into rap here and there just as a tongue-in-cheek thing, and then they'll start asking for more. So that's a little left field, but
I will
welcome
say,
in a way.
We've gotten, this was at the piano bar when I was playing there, probably a couple months ago now, but somebody requested "Who Let the Dogs Out," like actually, and it's like, who requests that song? Like, that's a very odd request.
Like, they're like trolling you at that point.
Yeah.
To try to see if you'll play something ridiculous, like "Who Let the Dogs Out." Do you end up do you see yourselves playing some of the music from the new Johnny Cash album? Have you heard about this?
No, maybe
why
not.
do I not know? What,
Johnny Cash has they're releasing a posthumous album.
Wow.
It's on Johnny Cash's website, I thought.
Well, then that must be very new, because I feel terrible that I don't know that.
Now I'm going to feel like an idiot if I'm wrong, but I thought it was, yeah.
Hang on.
Now I know
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
Google
no, I'm not
Johnny
sure.
Cash new album. Let's see.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna feel really stupid. Yeah, it's called Songwriter.
Yeah, I see it.
Wow.
11
Yeah.
original compositions he recorded but never released.
Holy
Wow.
moly!
Well,
Yeah.
then we're going to be listening to that for sure.
Yeah, we're going to Nashville tonight. We're driving from Little Rock to Nashville into the wee hours of the night.
Has
So
it already been released?
it looks like it's
Oh, yeah, because you could
April
listen to it
23rd.
the whole drive.
well, it was April 23rd is when it said. So the
The
fact that I
s-
didn't know
The
this.
single released, but that says the last single. So when is the album?
I don't know.
When?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
it's,
gonna I'll be googling it while we continue.
Yeah,
But I'll find this out because
songwriter.
that's incredible. You know, okay, so I'm gonna dovetail off this, but on the
Yeah.
same topic. Being from Arkansas, you know, obviously,
28.
June 28th was when
Oh,
it
yeah.
released. It's releasing. Songwriter is releasing this Friday, so you are.
So
And
excited.
I don't feel quite as dumb now because it is very current. But there have been
Yeah.
2 songs that have released off of the album, and this is going to look to be about a 12-song album. And Spotlight and Well All Right are the 2 that have released. Those singles have released as a teaser to the album dropping this Friday. But I am distantly related to Johnny Cash.
Oh.
My dad's mom's mom was a Cash, and so years ago I went through the ancestry.com and figured
Yeah.
it all out. And I had always been told that I was, you know, so we already knew that. And then Cliff is distantly related to June Carter.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
my great uncle Emmett Carter, who actually just passed away, just like last month. He was 90, I guess, something like that. And I think his niece, or not grandniece, but something like that, was
Somewhere over
June
there on
Carter.
that side.
It was pretty close relation.
So, but and you
Pretty
go,
cool.
well, you're from Arkansas, and that makes sense, and that's cool and all, but doesn't mean because they were by marriage. There
Yeah,
is,
there's no connection.
There's
We're
no,
not related.
we're not related. We are not inbred over here.
Of course.
At least we are.
We don't tell those jokes about Arkansas.
I
No.
do. I do because we are traveling internationally and we will meet people from Arkansas, and I'll make a joke that we probably know each other or are related. And many times we will find out we know each other because I mean it really is a small world. First of all, it's
Sure.
small, but yeah, we end up knowing some folks, or they know at least where we play, or we make the connection in Arkansas.
Yeah. That's very cool. Well, I didn't mean to surprise you with that. I just, it was news I had heard, and
I love a good surprise like that. I need more surprises like
So
that.
Very
you
exciting.
were fixing to go into the Randy Travis thing, weren't you? Or were you going to go?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
I for some reason I thought you were going there.
Well, that's
in a
that's
thought.
another can of worms. I don't know if y'all want to even open that one, but Randy Travis just released a new song, but they used AI to produce his vocal because he's nonverbal now due to his stroke.
oh,
And still good production though, and this song is beautiful. And he released it recently, and that was a very polarizing moment in country music, but just in the music world, to have a very interesting scenario with AI happen where it's blurring the lines of acceptability, but also like enabling his handicap to still produce music and create. And so that's a topic that's interesting to
yeah.
talk about and polarizing at the same time, because
I could see
people
that.
on both sides of the fence. Some people are like, oh, this is excellent, this is amazing, great use of AI. And then other people, they get very scared about it and think it's terrible. And, you know, how dare we use AI to replicate human voice? And I'm on the fence of it's coming anyway, doesn't matter what you think. So here we are. So
It is kind of a cool use of AI in that he can still control it because it's his own art.
yes,
That's the part I like.
Yeah.
It's not stolen from someone else. It's not,
he
you know,
gave approval. Yeah.
yeah, that is cool. And I love that he's able to still produce art in that way. For
Right.
him, I think that's really great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a beautiful song. So I encourage you to look. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, it's
But
been a minute since we looked it up.
But it was, yeah,
Have to
it
look
was
it up,
about
yeah.
a month ago. He dropped it. I'll look it up.
Well, to me, it's like, especially with his disability of not having his voice anymore. I mean, it's like, well, why not give him that opportunity? It's like if someone that lost their legs and it's like, well, here's a pair of legs, but
yeah,
oh no, don't give him those legs.
Yeah.
Those are fake.
yeah.
You know,
That's
it's like,
that's a great analogy. It's called "Where That Came From." Where that came from,
Okay.
and it's a
Okay.
beautiful song.
Yeah. Very
Um,
cool.
wow.
Before we get before it gets much later, I want to mention that you also have other things, other pans in the fire. You have a podcast, you have Big Red Dog Productions, you have, I believe you still have Rainy Day.
Rainy Ray. It's a
Rainy Ray. I'm sorry, I said it wrong.
okay. It's kind of like a rainy day, but Rainy Ray. It's just a name I came up for our store. I have watercolor paintings that I do.
Yeah.
And I've dabbled in making jewelry, and so I wanted just like a brand that I could set aside and be like, that's my e-commerce store. And then I've also put our merch out there. So right now, as of now, rainyray.com is where you can find all of our merch and all of that. But we do have a production company here where Cliff arranges. We're actually here right now. He arranges and produces our music as well as other artists.
Yeah, very
We have
cool.
a lot going on. Entertainers Academy we launched to help other artists figure out how to have, careers like ours, with the show being the main thing, becoming an entertainer. And it's one of the best ways right now to make good money in the music industry is to book yourself doing cover shows and then work your way into the original venues as well.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And then, Entertainers Academy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just kind of the umbrella is our production company, Big Red Dog Productions. Sure. So that's one of our products that we have as an online resource.
Very cool. You have a lot going on, and you're so good at it all. I'm amazed. That's so great.
Well, thank you. I think as artists, we have to wear many hats and have a lot of different avenues to have stability. But also, I think our creativity starts kind of stepping outside of lanes and going in different directions. So you have to be careful of that and not get yourself spread too thin. But diversifying your portfolio, I feel, is important to pay your bills. Luckily, we've worked very hard for years to get to where now our shows pay our bills. So we are doing music full time, but I have a few marketing clients that I have on the side that I help run their branding and marketing, and that's a music venue, and then my brother's dental practice. So a couple little side hustles, but I love it because I learned how to do the marketing for my music career and have the skill set that I now can package up and offer outside of music. And so, several hats. Probably too many hats if you ask Cliff, but
it's a lot of hats. But also, I believe when you're multi-talented and you have other things like watercolor, you should be able to go do those things too. Like, there's nothing that says you have to only focus on one type of art. And I like that you're multifaceted and multi-talented that way.
Well, it is part of the fact that we don't have enough time for her to do that. So
that is tough. Yeah.
Cliff is a handy woodworker, and what else do you do? He plays like 12 instruments. So he's always, his brain on music is just beautiful to watch him create, from just thinking of an entire arrangement to starting with one instrument and laying that out and then coming up with this masterpiece, because he records single track recording or overdubbing, which is just playing one, hearing it in your head and then playing every instrument. In fact, fun fact about our debut album, Fiddle and Keys, those 12 songs, 10 of those 12 songs he produced and played most every instrument on that album.
Wow.
You're hearing that he's actually, it's not a full band. It's like Cliff, except for I play keys, of course. I'm playing my keyboard parts and singing that he can't. He sometimes plays keyboard, but I tell him on my signature part, I have to do it because that's my street cred. But he even plays piano. But it's pretty incredible what his talents, God gave him.
Thank you, honey. That's so sweet. It's also brilliant to watch her paint and be able to bring life to some beautiful piece of art.
I'm really shy about my painting.
She is, and she should not be, because she's very good.
I don't think I'm very good. I have major imposter syndrome.
I don't think I'm very good at what I do sometimes. I'm like, man, is this any good? But it's so funny. The imposter syndrome that she mentions is like every song that we start, I always feel like, man, this is just probably going to turn out to be a pile of garbage, and I'm gonna hate it. And then
at the end,
sometimes,
most every time, we're happy with it, and it. When he works with a client, I think when they
that's
come
the
in,
biggest part.
When he works with a songwriter who comes into the studio and wants him to produce their song, and every time, they don't have a full band or have worked with the band at this point, and they just want him to bring their song to life. And he's always intimidated. I think he told me
that's when I'm most vulnerable, I guess, and in my head and imposter, because I'm like, this is gonna suck.
And they're gonna hate it.
They're gonna hate it. With our songs, it's easier because I'm like, I already have kind of what I want it to sound like, and I'm not trying to please anybody else but myself and hopefully her.
Yeah.
And we're mostly on the same page with what what we're hearing and what we want things to sound like. So when it's someone else, and especially if it's something that I haven't worked on this genre specifically, like recently I did a very pop song. It's kind of like I don't know if y'all know Mitski.
Colby Calais.
Yeah, Colby Calais, Mitski, or I don't know, Olivia Rodrigo, some of that type of stuff that's I'd never done before, and
Sure.
like
It turned out amazing.
I was like, this is gonna suck, but it ended up.
He was
being
in
pretty
here
cool.
scratching with it. I was like, "What are you doing in here?"
yeah,
he was
yeah.
making these sounds.
Oh yeah,
and
so I had some brushes, like metal drum brush sticks, and
she wanted
I
the
just
sounds
had-
of waves, and he's in here making waves. I'm like,
Oh,
"Well, yeah,
sure.
just come back
Oh.
later." And it turned into this
I
amazing.
just like did the brushes on the desk and recorded that.
Cool.
So cool.
I love
Oh my.
So
God.
it's really it's pretty incredible. And I will tell on Cliff, the part of Cliff's brain that got all of the music took from the part that he can't find Walmart from our house. Like he has no sense of
Well,
direction.
I can find Guitar Center and Taco Bell. pretty
Somehow
much
he does
anywhere,
that.
But
Otherwise, we will turn around at least one time if we're going somewhere, and it could like most likely be in our home place. Like we're just not. He just doesn't have. I'm like, how do you not know which way home is right now? He does not have that, and it used to be a lot of fighting, and now I just accept it, and I'm just like, you have to turn around, and he's learned to go. When
it's
I
so
say,
ADD. Yeah,
But
I mean it's
he
like
used to fight with me. I'm like, take a left. He's like, no, it's a right. I'm like, are you seriously gonna? Are you like? It'd be like me telling you how to play guitar. Like, just I trust you. Like, just trust me.
You're brilliant in many ways.